So, good. I like that question.
I do too.
Is reconnective healing a tool to help really more easily manifest the reality that we want? And see, that's the word, want.
We want.
Well, the word want or desire means what we consciously perceive, what we can think of as a possibility, to accept, what we think we want in our lives according to our limited, conscious, human thinking, educated mind. And reconnective healing can easily bring about things that appear, that manifest, as we might use the word. But oftentimes we find that it takes us way beyond what we were asking for, what we thought we needed, and brings into our lives and our existence things we hadn't even dreamed of, where people come back to Jillian and I all the time and they say, wow, you know what manifested for me? And I didn't even know that I wanted it. It was truly what I wanted. It's never what I would have asked for if you said, what did you want? Because I didn't know.
And that brings up the definition of how we use that word manifestation. It's a spiritual word that we have brought into what I'll call our every common daily language. And I think that's beautiful because it's empowering. The whole idea of bringing into an experience something that is made real, to make something real. And when we look at the sort of religious connotation, which is really the origin of manifestation, it's the revealing of what we perceive, our perception of something being made real. So the beauty for me with reconnective healing is about us revealing what I'll call our latent healing power, or in this case, the manifestation of something that is revealed before the experience or before the perception of what it is we're asking for. It's almost like the architecture, the foundation of the energy, light, and information knowing us at a level that our perceived experience hasn't formed or thought of yet.
And perception is, again, an important word to look at here, because we think of manifestation as bringing something into reality, bringing something into existence. And the truth is, on many different levels, things may exist before we perceive them. So when we're talking about bringing them into a perceptible form, that's different than bringing them into existence. A seed can be germinating under the soil, and it's in existence, and the plant beginning to grow. The leaf formed before the leaf breaks through the ground. And when it breaks through the ground, we think it's come into existence. In actuality, it's just come into a state that allows us to perceive it. And again, on a very, I don't know exactly what word to use, spiritual, metaphysical, whatever word you're most comfortable with, on a form of understanding dimensional existence, scalar existence. Many things exist in, shall we say, a non-physical blueprint form, to use a metaphor, before they take on physical form. So the existence is before we see it. You could even say, I could say that this chair existed on some level in the mind and consciousness of the designer of it before it was built and erected, before I could actually sit down in it to have a conversation with you.
Right, before you could manifest a seat.
Right.
I love that.
What was it manifesting? Right.
I was listening to something about manifesting the parking space. You know, we call in the angel realm.
I was thinking about that, the
angel.
parking angel.
And interestingly, when we think about the reconnective healing approach, some of what I think is so freeing, and that's often why we say it's more than a manifestation, because, and the things that appear within the scope of how reconnective healing unfolds, or how a healing session unfolds, is often a surprise. And the surprise component, I feel, is if we are aware that that which forms us, that is able to perceive, again, what it is that we are needing. And often we create, I'm going to say, the manifestation of the moment based on a hardship, a disease, a difficulty, or a challenge that we want resolved. But what
something that stresses us, or has
Yes.
our attention, or has us worried or concerned for any number of reasons.
And so the reconnective healing spectrum, the idea of the interaction of the intelligence of energy, light, and information, is able to perceive and reveal that aspect of the challenge that maybe we aren't even thinking to manifest, because it isn't part of something in that moment we're looking to make real. And that's an interesting, challenge, because sometimes to talk about the natural world and that is latent, that is waiting to be activated. It is the part of us that maybe we'll refer to as alignment. And we in reconnective healing focus quite a bit on the latent healing aspect of our life and life progress,
Right.
and the opportunity for that. So we don't encourage an active manifestation process through intentions. It's almost as if the reconnective healing expression informs us, right?
Right. So it's like when you ask, is reconnective healing an easier approach? Well, yes, because we don't have to intend it. So we'll go back to the parking angel example, because many people are fascinated by the parking angel. Carolyn Mace doesn't love the concept of the parking angel, and John Travolta in Michael, I love his riff on the parking angel. Because sometimes we just think of little unimportant things and we try to make it into something intentional. And sometimes we'll drive in an area and we don't see parking, and we really try to manifest parking. But what we don't think about is, how about when we go somewhere and that rock star parking place just happens to be there waiting for us? Now, how did that happen? Maybe it happened because we simply were more in touch and in tune with everything already being in existence, our awareness, and therefore there's a perfect synchronicity in the relationship of the interaction. And it's so easy, so much easier, that we don't even pay attention to it, because we didn't have to vest or sort of effort, that's the word I was looking for,
Yes.
effort our way into a process of attempting to manifest something, because our knowingness knew that it already was manifest. It already existed.
And I think the knowingness component in reconnective healing plays a very important role. Our knowingness becomes part of the latent power of healing, and reveals itself as a new level of knowingness. We often say there is a certainty in chaos when you start to work with the reconnective healing frequencies, because at the cellular level, that which is the I think I'm going to say the union of the natural world and the spiritual world, our essence, our soul. At that level, so much is being architected. So much is being architected in advance, because perhaps coming in, and even our DNA as an information system, it can be influenced. We know that we have the capacity through thought to change our DNA.
Or through awareness. We know, at least according to quantum physics and current understanding, is that subatomic particles,
Yes.
well, they're so tiny we can't measure them. We don't have equipment small enough. They're so small and fine we can't even see them. And yet, how do we know that they exist if we can't measure them or we can't see them? We recognize them, according to Deepak Chopra and other people in quantum physics, according to the trails that they leave behind. So when do these trails appear? When do these subatomic particles appear? They appear when we place our attention on them.
Yes. So it's a bit of a who and what is informing who and what and when. And what we find is that the easier approach, perhaps, is to become the observer, to observe the architecture, the orchestration of things that are of the moment, in that present moment, pregnant, as Touré Roberts would say, the eternal, internal, present awareness, where truly the most potent part of us, without the thinking mind, is in what we'll call a manifestation of a latent, waiting to be activated healing event. Healing in the sense of wholeness.
And creation in the sense of, as we're talking in manifestation, to be or bear conscious or aware witness to a situation allows things to come into the recognizable form. So creation may not have been exactly the right word, but for it to show up and arrive and be present and functional in our lives, this is often how we think of manifestation, and I believe it comes about through being and bearing conscious witness.
Absolutely. And that can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of fun to be in the observation of the epic beauty and magnitude of your life and the life of others, rather than determining the roadmap entirely based on what our thoughts, ego, wants, needs are cultivating.
Yes.
All right. I hope that answers that question. That was a lot of fun.